Hi there. Today, what we're going to look at is how we might sort of look at the connections of our connections. And this is something that LinkedIn's sort of been playing about with over the last week or so. Um, Basically, why would we want to do it? Well, referrals, word of mouth is such a key element in most business development plans. And if you've done work with a connection, you've connected with them on LinkedIn. A logical next step is, by the way, if anyone that you know is likely to want some LinkedIn training, in my particular case, then please let them know. And that's great. It's sort of relatively generic, but sometimes we want to be more specific. And one way on LinkedIn we can be more specific is let's have a look at the connections of this client who's just experienced what you do, and let's see if any of his or her connections fits the profile of the people that you want to talk to. If they do, we're not talking here about ransacking their connections. Why not approach the client, deepen the relationship, and ask them if they could introduce you? But rather than just generally, we can be very, very specific about, I see that this marketing manager, or this sales director, or this HR manager. So what we're going to look at today is the way we might be able to do that. Now, the way that it's tended to happen, and let's take the example of my friend Mark here. Spell his name right would help. Mark is a digital marketing expert here in the Berkshire area. And if I go into his profile, what we've always done is said, right, let's go down, scroll down to his connections. And here we have a list of all Mark's connections, and we've got this little magnifying glass. And this was the thing that had disappeared when LinkedIn made its latest changes. It's come back again, but what we used to do in there was allow us to say, right, I want to see everyone he knows who has marketing in their profile and perhaps has the word head or director. In other words, we're looking for marketing directors, head of marketing, etc. And if I click on that, logically knows lots and lots of those sorts of people. 1,281, click on advanced search, it gives us that in a set of results. Now that's great, but what LinkedIn does is that it takes this as a keyword search, whereas actually what I'd really like to have is have that in as a specific search of job titles, which is how we'd probably do it with the advanced search normally. So with that in mind, is there a way that we can achieve this, and is there another route that we can take? To help me with this, I'm going to just take this little bit of code up here, and pivot type equals COFC. I'm just going to copy that. So let's start that process again. If I now look for Mark, when we reach the search results here, we just have a quick look and we can see that actually he has this little symbol next to his name. This just verifies that in fact he has his connections open and visible. If he doesn't, then we can't do what we're about to do anyway. If I click on that, it will now give me a list of those connections, and it allows me now to filter by clicking on and off these things. What it doesn't allow me to do, however, is to do an advanced search. If I do an advanced search, then as we see here, if I now put in marketing and we want head, or let's just put that in properly, and head or director, just as we did before, but we'd like it to be obviously in the job title rather than say a past job, or perhaps it put elsewhere in those words in the say summary section. We're just going to limit this back down to the UK as it was before, and we're going to run that search. The trouble is, it now does not retain the fact that we're looking at Mark's connections. So it now brings it out to all marketing, head of marketing, marketing directors, etc. in the UK. So where do we go from here? Well, we still keep this page, but up here in the code, just ahead of this PID number, we paste in that little bit of code that we copied earlier. If we now press return, we will now see that it returns exactly the same filters on the left hand side, but limits it to just the connections that Mark has. So now we have the ability to do an advanced search on all elements of Mark's connections, and allows us now to reach out to him and hopefully introduce us to people that we're going to be interested in talking to. A few of these I know already, so as a last step what I might do is just say, okay, second level connections to me. So now these will give all new potential business, and hopefully Mark has had a good enough experience coming on my courses to feel comfortable to introduce me. So try and apply that. Try and use the relationships. Don't go and ransack the connections, but see if we can actually build this into our market and our business development. And I've got a fairly clear idea it's going to add real benefit there. So another hint and tip there. Hopefully it's been a useful one. Hope to see you at one of the courses soon.